Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin, and today we have an open box video for you on some really fun looking currency from around the country, around the globe here. No, well, I mean around our country anyways. And we're going to look at some notes that all are very nice middle grade to high grade notes and several different varieties. So this is a legal tender note, pardon me, a national currency note. I'm already all ahead of myself here. So look at that. So Federal Reserve Bank, Philadelphia. This came in the 12 different districts. And the district number Philadelphia is C3. It's like playing bingo here. Series of 1918 is actually the series there, 1918, although it says May 1914. The series number is 1918. And PMG graded this VF35. So PMG has their economy service. This took 2.5 months to get back, and their economy service actually goes up to $1,000, which is kind of nice. So a nice middle grade VF note, which generally means you want crispness and life and body to the note, but still there's like lots of little folds and stuff, right? So this note was probably at one time tri-folded, got the 3 lines there. And you know, this one, you can see the wear on it pretty even, but there's still some crispness to it. On this side, you know, the note looks really not as folded as worn, and that happens often depending on how the note was stored. So one of the things to do is, of course, to be able to look at both sides of the note, just like you look at both sides of the coin when you're looking at coins. This is Friedberg number, that's that FR number, Friedberg number 715, and this note, green sheet's about $170. Just a note on paper notes on collecting money. One of the nice things about the system here with Friedberg is if you happen to get the green sheet, if you subscribe to this, you can go to green sheet or graysheet.com to subscribe. One of the nice things is that these are actually put in order by Friedberg number. So you don't even have to know where to look. If you open to any given page, just look at what Friedberg number you're at, and then you can look at what Friedberg number your note is, and then you can line them up and get to the proper place. Okay, so kind of fun. Let's move on to something that's a little bit pretty, right? This Hawaii note, silver certificate from Hawaii, has the brown seal, and you know, kind of a nice, beautiful, bold Hawaii on the back of it. And usually, to get a sense for notes, you want to make sure you do hold the note at different angles. Also, I have sometimes I'll use a backlight, to kind of tell if there's anything else going on underneath those lines there. If it's too bright, you can't really see anything, so you kind of have to give it some space and some distance to see if there's any lines or creases, right? So as an example, on this note, it was easier to see the creases from this side, and then when you're on this side, it's harder to see those same creases. But then if we do this, look to the right of Washington. It almost looks like a security strip. See that line pop up? That line's almost invisible from this angle if you're not looking. You can see it a little bit on the back of the note, but let me uncrookify myself here. But when you do it this way, also same thing. Look at these lines that pop up here around the D, around the O and the word dollar. There's 2 lines. They're kind of gone. Now they're back. Same thing over here. So the backlighting is really important when it comes to viewing notes if you want to have a better idea of if you're missing anything or not. It takes a little time to get used to it, to kind of see how that works. Gem uncirculated 65. My clients can be really happy, I think, with that note. That's a $200 plus note. Most of the notes here are notes that were sent in for a customer, and some things that he just wanted to have graded and in holders. 1923 silver certificate. This is a real common banknote, and you'll notice, similar to the first large size banknote we had, you can see that there is wear to the banknote. There are little creases and whatnot that kind of go throughout the banknote. So like right here, this is some wear, some creases, and once again there's lines and wear and creases, stuff going across the middle. But let's go ahead and backlight that a little bit and see. Now you can see these darker lines that are popping up where there were none before. Of course, one of the things that happens now is you see the design from the other side pops up and can kind of get in your way. So you got to have to sometimes change the angle a little bit to see what we want to see. But all these dark spots and lines that are over here on this side that are popping up, that here you might not be able to see them. Well, now you're training your eye to be able to see them, right? So maybe you didn't notice, some of these lines right in here, but once we get that backlight over there and like, oh, look, it's a little bit darker. Same thing, if you're not used to seeing how the notes look when they've got a little bit of wear to them. So this one also came back at VF35. Green sheet on it's about $50. Some of these notes you can buy close to green sheet. Others, they'll cost you a little bit more in the marketplace. Here we go again with a legal tender note, 1917 $2 bill. And you'll see another note that looks like it's got a real strong body to it. But also you can see, if you're getting used to looking at these now, that we've got a good repetition going, little crinkles and wrinkles moving in here. But it's not heavy wear. It's not like you've seen a banknote that is super limp and soft if you tried to pick it up. But somewhere kind of in between, right? We're going to eliminate the different ideas of what grade it could be based on what you're looking at. And you'll see it again here. Now I'm used to looking at these in some different lights. So at this angle, I start to see the little creases popping up this way and the crease popping up this way. And then again, we'll grab the backlight one more time and take a look and see if that helps us see some of these lines that maybe we couldn't see before. And this is actually especially helpful for once you have a note that you think is really a high grade. Like look at this corner here. And now you see the little corner folds. But sometimes you'll miss little things like these corner folds up here. And so it's pretty important to be able to just kind of take a closer look, because once you get into certain grades where the note or coin might jump a lot in value, you want to make sure you have those details down. VF30, a little bit more wrinkly and creasy creases to the body and the face on this note than on some of the other notes. So it's just a step down. Friedberg number 60, this is a $175 green sheet, and I just want to show you there's some more fold lines that kind of pop up through there, right in that area in front of TJ. And we've got another 1917 legal tender note here. So this is from the same series as this $2 bill was, series of 1917. And then this $1 bill is also the series of 1917. So these are the notes that were circulating about the time of World War I, which we don't really think about too much when we look at notes like these. Oftentimes, we kind of forget about World War I. We talk a lot about World War II and Vietnam, but I don't know as many people who were alive during World War I, so it doesn't seem as relevant. Somehow it gets lost sometimes in our history books, but this is the currency that we had. And it's interesting, just some of the design elements that went into it you don't really think about as much either, but the US of A, it's kind of a neat little design here. That's something that sometimes we don't pay attention to the details. United States of America with that neat crossing, and so if you ever are interested in making like logos and things, I'd always consider just hearkening back to banknotes from different time periods, and you can get a real good feel for some of the design elements that people used to use. VF35 on that banknote, Friedberg number 36, that's about another $160 type note. We are going to switch gears just slightly and get to a national banknote here from Ohio. Okay, I'm not going to. That's a good way to lose half of your subscribers from one state if you start singing songs from another state. So this banknote's really interesting for lots of reasons. The Lincoln National Bank of Cincinnati, Ohio, and of course, if you collect national banknotes, this banknote will look identical to other banknotes, except it'll have different name here, different signatures, and a different number, right? So you can get these from any state, and it'll have all the stuff will look the same. The back will be identical. It'll look just like this one does. Which is this one has the landing of the Pilgrims on it. This is the note that I should have been given for Thanksgiving, or showing for Thanksgiving, because the detail is actually really cool on here. They're making it look like a nice stormy day, and you can see the ship out into the bay ship. I don't know if you want to call it the bay, because they've got the smaller boat that they're getting out of. But they were just landing at Plymouth Rock there. So a couple things about this note that's interesting in learning about national banknotes in general. This banknote here from the Lincoln National Bank of Cincinnati, Ohio. Just talking about national banknotes in general, there are 25 banks from Cincinnati. There are only 27 banks in all of Arizona. So the bigger cities and the older cities have a lot of banks, but some of them are still pretty scarce. If we get, maybe this has been found since the book has been printed, but in the book on national banknotes, you see some of the banknotes are unreported. So this bank was chartered here in 1883, liquidated in 1888. They only issued $85,000 in currency, and there was only $500 unaccounted for in 1910. So that is really, really a scarce banknote. But what I want to show you is another thing. When you look at these banknotes, they go in numerical order. So bank 32, 93, that's actually when they were chartered. So this banknote was 2524, that's the charter number. And so as we get down to 2524 here, you'll notice that this is the German National Bank of Cincinnati. But wait, this says that it's the Lincoln National Bank of Cincinnati. What happened? Well, what happened was you've got, it doesn't say it right away, but then it says second title, and then it'll say first title. And actually, I'm not even looking at the right bank. Whoop, there we go. Now we're back to the German one. Chartered 1881, second title, Lincoln National Bank of Cincinnati. So you can see that it was originally chartered in 1881, and in 1918 it changed its charter name from German National Bank to the Lincoln National Bank. And you will see banknotes that will have, three. I wonder if there's any with 4 titles. Like here's one with 3 titles. I know you see banks with lots of different titles out there, but this one has 2 different titles. And this banknote is very nice, very crisp. They call this an AU53. National banknote's a little bit harder to figure out the exact price point on. This is probably a $350 type note. The other thing that's interesting about this note here, I'm just going to backlight it a little bit, and you can see the difference between this note and some of the other ones. But the other thing that's interesting about a lot of national banknotes, usually the larger the bank, the more likely it is that these signatures are printed instead of hand signed. Here's one of these little corner folds I was talking about that you might miss. See a little dark line up there in the corner. So, but these banknotes, these signatures here are 2 different colors, and they look like they might be handwritten, but these are actually printed. And you can tell sometimes by the consistency of the lettering on these guys. All right, see, this is so funny. This is what I get for doing this stuff here. This is, I just told you that I think this note is printed. And now as I'm looking at it again, I think that they're hand signed. All right, all you paper specialists out there, you can geek out on me and tell me how right I am or wrong I am. I'm probably wrong no matter what I say. But so typically what you'll see is you'll see different flow. This is easier to understand if you see the exact same banknotes all the time. You'll understand if that is an ink flow or if it's printed. I'm really curious now that I'm looking at it again up close to see what looks like ink flow right in this area here instead of what looks like printed, especially with that line and dot underneath there. So, all right. Well, I don't know this banknote as well, so maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe those are hand signed, but I definitely, when I saw them, I thought they were printed on there. So you Cincinnati, Ohio specialists, come at me. All right, and finally, last but not least, we got a small size note, Minneapolis. This was in my series of notes that I told y'all is kind of a note that is something that is maybe undervalued in the marketplace. Trying to find nice Federal Reserve national banknotes for these brown seals, especially the higher denominations, the hundreds. They can be difficult to locate, and so this note is overall really crispy looking. It doesn't have those lines in it that you saw in some of the other banknotes. It has a little bit of rounded edges overall. PMG called this an AU55. And nice piece for the Minneapolis district. Green Sheet has this at 2 1/4. I'll have to do a little research. It might trade for closer to 3, but all in all, it's a nice looking note. You can see a little bit of some, what is this here? A little bit of a like fold or something right down here at the bottom of the note. A little bit of life going on down here. Just trying to figure out exactly what that spot is. Sometimes, believe it or not, you can get out a jeweler's loupe and look at something a little bit closer to try to determine what you're looking at. And always, of course, banknotes, they can be held at lots of different angles, just like coins can, to help you get different lighting on the note, to help you understand what you're looking at. So, all in all, pretty neat little group of banknotes, and not a bad day at the office. So, anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.